Sahana bhavatu Sahano bhunaktu Saha viryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam everyone.
Sai Ram.
We are discussing Omkaram. I had saved the deck yesterday, but I'm going to slightly change the order in which I'm going to discuss, if it's okay. I will just point out to the, so if you go to the 10th page or slide, whatever you have in your PDF, if you don't have, so let's start with that. This is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. It's from the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and it's the 23rd verse. So I'm just going to read it, and then we will go through the normal process of looking at each word, how to read it, and looking at the pronunciation, and then we'll continue. Om Tat Saditi Nirdesho Brahmana Trividaha. Brahmanas Trividaha. Okay. Brahmana Stri Vidha. Brahmanas Trividaha. Smritaha. Smritaha. Brahmanastena Vedascha Yajñascha Vihita Pura. So we will go through the meaning. If anyone wants to read, chant it or later, we will do. But it's just to study the language for this purpose and just also understand some of the principles. I thought it will be nice. Om stands for the Omkaram. Tat. Tat means it is that. Sorry, I should say that. Okay. I initially put tat as the meaning, but in English, everyone wants something, so I put that. Okay. Actually, otherwise I will just leave it as tat. Sat. Sat is Sat. Okay. Om, Tat, and Sat. Iti means thus. Nirdeshaha. Nirdesha means to describe. Okay. It's the, we can analyze the word, but I will just leave it as described. Okay. Something which is described means you can say that is nirdeshaha. Like upadeshaha. Just the way upadeshaha, nirdeshaha also. Upadesha means you are close to the teacher, and the teacher explains to you, and so you come closer also. So that's Upadesha. Nirdesha is also to bring something out. Also, it means. Okay, so we will just leave it as. So, what it basically means is, okay, I will read the next three and then we'll come back to discussing. Nirdesha means describe. Let's say. Brahmanaha. Here the Brahmana means Brahman, the supreme Parabrahman. Okay, God, whatever you want to call it. Trividaha, three ways. Smritaha means remembered. Okay. Brahmana means I use the word Brahmanas. Generally, people may translate it as Brahmins. Okay, many people will say, oh, they belong to the Brahmin class. But it means all those who are Brahmanas. Okay, let's leave it that. It's not a caste, it is not a jati, it is not a lineage. Okay, Brahmana means, we'll come back to that word a little later. Tena, by that. That is, by that means, by what? Brahmana. Okay, by that Brahmana, Veda, cha. Veda means Vedas, cha means and, yajnas. We will think, fire sacrifices. We'll come to that also, yajna, cha. Vihitas. Vihita means they were made, created, done. Okay. Pura means long before or earlier, whichever meaning you want to take. Okay. So what this verse is telling is, we'll start with Brahmana, Brahman, or God. What is Brahmana means? That which continuously expands. Okay. Bruh is the root word, which means expand. Man means Brahman. Man is what's called a pratyaya, which is an affix, which basically means that which has the capacity of Brah. That's the way Brahman, the word, has come. So in Sanskrit, the affixes are called pratyayas. Okay, that means which basically attaches itself and gives the meaning in a word. So Brahman means that entity which is filled with the ability to continuously expand. That is Brahman. That is God. So how is it expanding? Is it geographically expanding, qualitatively expanding? Everything we can discuss. But let's say it's God. This God is Nirdeshaha, means he is brought out, explained, described in three ways, three vidaha, and remembered also. Okay, or that can be contemplated also, you can say, as three ways. What are the three ways by which God is described? Om, Tat, and Sat. This is our name of God, which you can say, once we say name of God, we'll say, aren't there any other names for God? But that Brahman is described, which is Nirguna, Nirakara, means that without any characteristics, without any form, that thing is described by these three words, Om, Tat, and Sat. And many chants, prayers will say Om, Tat, Sat. Even one of the songs, Sarvadharma song which we sing at the end of bhajans is Om Tat Sat Shri. Okay, so this is the Om, Tat, and Sat. Om is Omkaram we are studying. Tat means that. Okay, that's the only way we can translate it in English. But I think it is much more than that. But Sat is, we can say, truth. That which never changes is Sat. We also know Sat Chit Ananda. Okay, Anand. Okay, that's also way Sat Chit Ananda. So Sat is truth. So there are three ways, these three ways that Lord has been described. Brahmana, means those who aspire or aspire to become Brahman, or who want to learn about Brahman, who are becoming Brahman or who have become Brahman, or who have imbibed the qualities of Brahman, they are all called Brahmanas. So you can say anyone who is who has taken on the path, gone on the path of reaching Brahman, which is Brahmacharyam. Brahmacharya means one who travels towards the Brahman or who studies Brahman. They are all brahmacharis. These brahmacharis, at the end of their journey, they reach a state called Brahmana. Okay, you become the divine. So all such people, okay, you can say these are rishis who are able to see the Lord, who are able to experience the Lord by cultivating divinity in them. Tena. So this is the way the Lord is remembered by Brahmana. Okay. Tena, by that, using that, or using that experience of remembering the Lord. Okay. Or by chanting or describing the Lord as Nirdesha, through describe. What they have done is Vedaha, all the Vedas, Yajna. Yajna means all actions which are dedicated to the Lord. All actions which are dedicated to the Lord, offered to the Lord, are Yajna. So I think some of you are coming for the Gita Vayani study cycle, where the Lord, Swami is telling, the cycle of how everything comes. So from Vedas, karmas come, from the karmas, yajna. Okay. Yajna is the essence of the karma. So that's what it means. Okay. Vihitas, they have been made or done or prepared, created, whatever you want. So all this, so what has happened is all those who understood the Lord, all who saw the Lord, they described the Lord who cannot be described. The word Om Tat Sat. Nirdesha means you can bring out, or something which is hidden, which is brought out and described. You can say that as Nirdesha. Okay. Which only people who are become that can say. That's what Krishna is saying, Arjuna. So from this we know that Om is one way this Brahman can be described. So that is the meaning of this verse. Vihita Pura. Vihita means, Pura means long time ago. Before anything existed, it came into being. It's another way to understand the word Pura. So I have given a simple translation. Brahman has been described and remembered as Om Tat Sat in three ways. The Brahmanas made Vedas and Yajnas with that long ago. So that is the Vedas, and Vedas have come into being by those who discovered the Lord and described that Lord who cannot be easily seen with three words, the three original names, you can say, as one is Om, one is Tat, the other one is Sat. So that's the meaning of this verse. So I thought it's nice to read these words, because there are discourses where Swami has spoken about it. Then this is another verse, this 17th chapter, 24th verse. The verse just after this verse which we looked at. Okay. Tasmad Tasmado Mityudahritya. Okay. Tasmad Om Iti Udahritya. Okay. Yajna Dana Tapaha. Yajna Dana Tapaha Kriyah Pravartante Vidhanoktaha Satatam Brahma Vadinam. Read again. Tasmadomit Pratyudahritya Yajna Dana Tapaha Kriyaha Pravartante Vidhanokta Satatam Brahma Vadinam. You look at the meaning. Tasmat, therefore. So we are just after that verse because whatever we have read so far. Om means Om. Iti, thus. Udahritya, that means pronouncing or uttering the word, saying Om. Yajna, yajnas, any work which we offer to the Lord. Dana, charity means giving, sharing with the world what we have. Tapaha, tapas means people generally think it is going and going to the jungle or forest and meditating with intensity, without food, without sleep, and things like that. But Swami would say that it is any that sense of longing, burning with the desire, yearning, burning with the yearning to reach the Lord is tapaha. Okay. Kriya, activities. Pravartante means they proceed or start or begin. They go on. Okay, pravartante. Vidhana. Vidhana means vidhi. You must be knowing the word vidhi, which is prescription or rule. Okay, or guidance, whatever you want to call it. Vidhana. That's the path. Okay, you can say. Uktaha. State means, I should say, state means say. Declare also you can say. Ukta means to say something. Okay. So vidhana uktaha means these procedures or prescriptions have been stated. Okay. Uktaha. Satatam, always. Brahmavadinam. Brahma means, again we have looked at the God. Vadinam means who always speak or who are engrossed in the Brahman. Okay, who speak about Brahman. So as soon as you open your mouth, you are saying something. So when our speech is all divine or godly, such people always do anything with the word Om, chanting the word Om. So now you understand how all divine activities in the Sanatana Dharma start with uttering the word Om. Okay, because that's invoking God Himself, because Om is the description of the divine. Okay, and so these are the prescriptions in scriptures. It's sort of understood. Vidhanaha means so scriptures are saying this is the okay. So all these activities have been stated in the scriptures. So whenever you engage in any of them, those who are always talking about the Lord will start and do that function by saying Om. So that's what this verse talks about. I think there are many Sri Lankan Tamils in this class, so I would like to mention, instead of saying yes in Tamil, the word is am to say yes. Why? Even in Sanskrit, yes, the word for yes is am. But in Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka and Jaffna, we say Om. That is the only place in the world where for yes we say Om, as far as I know. There may be other places, but I am not aware. But in Sri Lanka, Jaffna, Tamils always say Om. That is because of this. There is an Upanishadic injunction also for that. We will just look at it. I didn't. I thought I will put it, but I have too much material. Maybe in the next session I will do it. So for every action we say Om to start or do something, because it represents God himself, Brahman. It invokes. So that's the meaning of this verse. I thought I will just, so sometimes we do things, where is the rule? Where is it given? So we can say in the Bhagavad Gita, it is told. And if anyone wants. Of course, for us, Swami has said means that itself is Veda. But to know, it's in the scriptures also, because it's Swami not saying it today. He said it as Krishna, he said it as Rama, he said it before. And this is just for that. And it's also an opportunity for us to learn something about the Sanskrit words. Also an opportunity to read something called Bhagavad Gita, because it is one of the texts which everyone who follows Sanatana Dharma should read. So that's the purpose. It's not a Bhagavad Gita session, but I thought it's good to take some verses and discuss. I don't know whether I'm packing too much material, but or it's just I'm just telling too superficial explanation. But I think that's good enough for now, because the whole purpose is Sanskrit. So I want you all to learn the words, what they mean. I think that's much more, that's the purpose. So I will focus on that rather than dwelling too much on the philosophy.
Sai Ram, brother. Oh, sorry. Can you
Yes.
go back? Can you go back?
Sure.
This 24. Can you read the first line again?
Okay.
Tasmo Madhu Mityu. Right.
So let's it's good to know each of the components. It's easy to read, but
right.
I will try to read slowly. Okay. Tasma do mityu da kritya. Okay. Tasmado mityuda kritya. Okay. So what you should do is read this. Tasmat om iti udahritya. So if you read this, Tasmat omiti udahritya, Tasmadomityudahritya. So there is Sandhi coming here. Tasmat and Om, this it becomes id. The third letter, this is the first letter in the Tha Varga, the 4 letters or 5 letters in the Tha Varga. This is the first one. That in a Sandhi, when it comes along with O, that turns into a the, which is the third letter in the Tha Varga. Okay. It is a type of Sandhi, a join or a junction, you can say. So that becomes Tasmadom. Tasmadom. Okay. Then Om and Iti becomes Omiti. I think that all of you can easily follow, because and E becomes me. Okay, that's the me you are seeing here.
Right.
Omiti. Okay. Then there's another Sandhi coming, which is the E, iti and udakritya. The E and U become ya. E, if you say quickly, okay. Sorry. Yes, brother.
Salam, brother. Here, and could you please explaining about the tabas and tabas and meditation? According to my knowledge, brother, this one having that doubt for a long time. Tabas, my understanding is you want to achieve something, worldly things, and you go to the jungle and pray to the Lord, and you get the stuff whatever you want. And the meditation means you just meditate on yourself and you merge with God. Is that right, brother? And other one, second one, I heard about that bhajan, Om Tat Sat Sri Narayana Tu Purusottama Gurudu. That is the bhajan that people sing, that one too. And could you please explain those one too, brother, if you have time? Thank you.
Okay, brother. So I think first I will let me finish reading, because sister asked, and just Okay. Yajna. So yajna, dana, tapaha. Yajna, dana, tapaha. So this should be pretty simple to read, hopefully. This is kriyaha. Kriyaha. Pravartante. Here also there are two words. Oh, I was talking about this sandhi. Sorry about. Okay, I missed. So here iti and udahritya will become it yuda, it you. Okay, it you, because of the e and u, you becomes you. Okay, you. If you keep say it fast, you will understand it. It becomes you. Becomes easier to go from iti to u. Okay, so ityudahritya. Okay, ityudahritya. So that's what you are saying here. Tasmadomityudahritya. Tasmadomityudahritya. Okay. So that's four words joined together to make one big compound word. Okay, that's what it is. You can call it a samasa, but that becomes samasa is a long word, which is a compound word. Okay, in this case, it becomes one word. Okay, yajna, yajna. Okay, yajna, dana, tapaha. This is ijna is, I think we have looked at as a compound letter, ij and nya. Ij is the third letter in the cha varga and nya is the fifth letter in the cha varga. So ijna, yajna. I think I have talked about it before also. It's no harm in repeating because many people pronounce it as yagna, G-N-A. Some people pronounce it as G-Y-A, yagya. These are regional derivations or morphing of that language. But pure Sanskrit is yajna. Okay, yajna, dana, tapaha. Yajna, dana, tapaha. Kriyaha pravartante vidhanokta. So vidhana ukta become vidhanokta satatam brahma vadinam. Okay, so I hope, sister, that's good enough for now. Otherwise, actually, we can take one verse and do for one full day.
Yes, thank you, brother. No, it's clear now. I understand. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Sairam, can I ask Auntie, you have a question?
The last line, I don't know, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sabda Dosu.
Okay, I will.
Yeah,
So, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, I think is fine.
yeah.
Sapta Dasho Dashaha. So it's Sapta Dashaha Adhyayaha. Again, there's a sandhi. The Dashaha becomes Dasho. Then we write what's called an avagraha, which is the representation of A in a sandhi, which is not pronounced actually. Avagraha, it's called. Adhyayaha. Adhyaya means chapter.
Okay.
Sapta means 7.
24.
Dasha means 10.
Thank you.
7, 10 chapter, if you want to put it that way.
Because I was thinking of this. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, so this avagraha, it's called. It's an S-like symbol, which is the depiction of akara in a sandhi. So there are Panini rules. So we will. I don't want to go into the details. Okay. So now coming to Brother Hasan's question, Brother Hasan, you're asking about the philosophy of tapas. I will just mention briefly. I don't want to dwell too much. I think we need to have a separate session for that. Then that doesn't become Sanskrit lesson, but it becomes Sanatan Dharma and the philosophy itself. But I just don't want to ignore, but I want to give some light color because that's the meaning. See, tapaha comes from tap means to burn. In Sanskrit, tap means to burn. Tapaha means anything which is burning, anything you do with burning is tapaha. Okay. But in common usage, because we read these stories in Puranas and all, we think we have to go to the forest and stand on one foot or stand upside down, don't eat anything, and then we do some. And when we do tapas like that, the story goes that the entire world is burning, and the devas will go and complain to Lord Narayana, this fellow is doing this, very almost violent meditation. And because of that heat he is generating, the entire world is burning. Okay, which is what's happening today. The temperatures in the world is going up, global warming, because people are also burning oil, burning. See this burning. So in Sanskrit we should understand. I think maybe I will just dwell on it a little bit. In all the languages, when we use a word, we use it as a description of an object. So for example, if I say hand, and who knows in English will understand hand means this is hand. Okay. But why do we call this hand? Means we don't know. Because we have labeled this as hand. And now whenever somebody says hand, we will think, oh, it is this. So that is a process of labeling. All languages, most languages use what's called labeling. So you see a tree, you look at a tree and say this tree. Why is it called a tree? Can you explain the meaning of tree? Means they will say no, tree is a tree. So that is the process is that you label an object. But in Sanskrit, the way it approaches is it's a description of an experience. Words are approached as called a description of an experience. So in this word, let's take tapa. Generally we'll say tapas means penance. And we will say, somebody sitting in Padmasana and doing something. So we have labeled it as that. But actually, the word tapaha has to be understood as what is it describing? What is the characteristic? Okay, so in Sanskrit, for example, if you say hand, in Sanskrit we will say karam. Kara means you use the hand to do an action. So the thing which is used to do something is called kara. But the problem with that is you can say daya karo, kripa karaha, like that also. Okay. So there is it kripa karaha means is it whose hand is compassion. Okay. The meaning is karaha means to do. So the hand is called kara because karam because it does things. So we have to always look at the word as a description of what it is doing or what is our experience. Okay. So that is why this confusion comes. Tapaha means it's a label for something. Because it's like, can you do Xerox, we will say. Xerox was a company's name. Now we have attached the Xerox as a photocopying thing. But if you use the word photocopying, that is a description of what is happening. But then if you say, what is photo? You are not photocopying, is it duplication? Like all that, even in other language, it exists, description of something. But in Sanskrit has taken it to that level where even each letter can be broken into, each syllable will have a meaning, and you put it together and then it will describe. Okay, so the way to approach Sanskrit, that is why you have to take the meaning of a word in the context, number one, and you also have to take the highest level meaning of a word. in that context. So it gives you flexibility. So that's why, one word can mean hundreds of things, but it is describing what it is doing. For example, I will, because we are on the topic, I think because we have looked at, for example, there's a word called upper. I think last class we looked at. Upper means water. Okay. Actually, in classical languages, they only use the word apa, which is the plural of upper. But in Vedic Sanskrit, upper is also used, which is singular. Upper. Water is called upper. The water is called jalam. The water is called neer. So all these are names of, there are 100 odd names for just water. But each of the word has a meaning. For example, upper means that which generates, from which anything can grow. Something can be born. That ability is called upper. Whereas jala means that which makes noise. Okay, so things like that, there are meanings. I don't know, I just want to give an example. But for example, in Tamil we say appa for the father. Why is the person called appa means? That is actually coming from its root up. That which creates. That from which something is born. So we are using the word appa without realizing that appa means that which the person who has created. Okay, that's why we call the person appa, appane, amme, like that, So that word up means to create. So in this context, so it can mean, so up means water, up means the father also. But the thing is, we need to know the context where it is used and understand the meaning. So I think so meditation is also tapas. It all depends with what sense of burning desire you are doing. You can sing a bhajan, that also can be tapas. If that with burning, when you sing that, you're burning, your entire soul is burning to reach something. Your mind, your heart, your body, everything is burning. Then that is tapas. Anything which burns you is tapas. Anything which burns and takes away all the bad things, that is tapas. So there are many ways we can. So I hope that's good enough for now.
So Sairam, right, it's very good understanding. All this time, I couldn't find it I searched in the internet too. I couldn't find the good answer. So anything that burn the desire. So when you come to, that's what they say, tapas is better than the meditation. That I didn't understand before. Now I have understood better, because in meditation, you burn everything. Thank you so much, brother. Now today I got the answer. Thank you.
We can have 1, 2, 3 day talks only on tapas, but I don't want to dwell on it. But the more you do tapas on the word tapa, you will understand. Okay. So I will just leave it at that. I hope it's because I got up in the morning today and I felt that I should discuss these 3, so that's why I'm doing it, because these are important for us to understand. These, where is it, people say, if we get up and say, okay, this is the way we are going to do prayer. But the thing is, brahmanas who have seen the Lord have already prescribed how we should do things, because they have like, for example, if you want to cook a dish, you go to a person who has already cooked and whose cooking is very good. I cannot have never cooked something. I can't say, okay, this is the way I'm going to cook this dish. It'll come out to be rather messy, and we can't even name that dish the original dish. So we have to go and see someone who has cooked, learn from them, and follow that recipe. So even when we do, okay, how are we going to do bhajans? In our centers, we have a lot of arguments. Oh, you had to chant this, we had to do this. If you have done that, has it benefited you? You can do it for 1 year, 2 years, 50 years, 100 years. Has that benefited you or others? Many things which we do doesn't benefit because we have come up with our own recipe. We don't want to follow from someone who has done a recipe. So that's why ideally Swami has laid out what you should do, what sadhana. Rishis have laid out how things should be done. We need to study, find out, and then do according to the way they have described. That's why we like Vidhana Utta. We here, Vidhana Utta. It is not what we think or what we have been doing. Those things have to be thrown away. If I have not done something right, we need to find out what's the right way to do it and do it. Unfortunately, we come up with our own recipes without knowing whether that recipe will work. So that is why, so every word we can discuss here. So Rishis have said, so we need to know why. So the reason is why I thought we should do this is then we should understand why do we chant Om? Where is the authority? Who has described? All this we should know and then do it. If not, we are doing ignorant within ignorance. So I think that's why I thought it's important. Okay, Sairam Kalyani, sorry, you have something.
Sorry, Uncle, can I just ask a quick question?
Sure, sure.
So when it says pravartante, does that mean you are chanting Om at the beginning or all throughout these activities?
Very good question. The thing is, once you start Om, Vartante means it is continuous. Vartamana means that which is taking place. Pravartante means it happens everywhere. Okay, so that's the word. I use the word proceed. Okay, because it is continuing to happen. Your question is now, okay, we chanted Om and started. Then should it be chanted always? The next verse we will cover that. What it basically means is, once you start the sound, that sound is going to reverberate. Because I think last week we were discussing about Om can be heard here, but in the moon can it be heard? Or something like that. Because we should understand, though Om is the external manifestation, sound is actually, if I had to explain in I don't know, scientific terms, it's a wave. You can call it an electromagnetic wave. An electromagnetic wave actually, once it is initiated, the wave continues is unabated. Electromagnetic waves in the universe, when they enter where the mass is high, it slows it down. Okay, but the impact of that is there. So for example, when I hear a sound, the electromagnetic wave, when it enters into certain other medium, it vibrates. But the thing is, once the wave is generated, it never stops. So when Om is chanted at the beginning, that sound will continue until the activity is finished and beyond. So you start with that. Once Om is stated, it has vibrated our body in such a manner that whatever we are doing is completely in line with that Om. If it has been chanted properly with the right attitude, we are generating a certain vibration in us, in our body, mind, and the environment, that Om will be continually there during that activity. Because Om, the manifested side, maybe I will next week I will cover. See, there are 4 aspects of speech, which is called, the last one is called Vaikari. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikari. Those are the 4 stages of sound. Vaikari is what we perceive, what we hear. So the Om which we are hearing is actually the Vaikari part, external manifestation. But the other 3, Para, Pashyanti and Madhyama, if that is fully recognized and we make them come into being in ourselves, that will continue always. So that is why the Om, once it is chanted in the beginning, it will continue during the activity and beyond. That is the way the word Pravartante is there. But I think it is just how we chant. So the whole purpose of what we are doing with Om is to understand what is this Om, how it should be chanted, what should be our state of mind, what should we visualize, what should we contemplate on. If we do this, then it will always be there. Okay, so that's my understanding. I hope I answered your question, or maybe not.
Yes, no, thank you so much. That's wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Saira Varno.
Yes, Auntie.
Now, when we start an activity, we say the Om 3 times. And then when we end the activity, we say the Om once. So why do we start with 3 Oms and end with 1 Om?
That's also there to be covered, Auntie. I will come to that. There's a slide on that. I will discuss that. Okay.
Okay.
Just please bear with me.
Okay, that's okay.
Brother Vimalesan, you had a question, or you put up your hand?
No. Actually, I just thought of telling this because you mentioned that. So Swami Vivekananda, when came to Jaffna, I have read that he has mentioned that we say every time Om for the years, and that reminds him of the Pranava mantra and all that. So since you mentioned, I thought of mentioning that.
Yeah, I think anyone who understands what is Om, when they come and hear, they will know the significance. See, what we don't understand is, at some point, we don't know when, somebody has started this practice. Someone who has studied it, understood, and know the subject have started in Jaffna, and if all of us are following it, but without understanding what the significance of it is. And that's all it is. And I think we can look at the significance, and where in which Upanishad, what is stated, we can look at next time. Okay, I didn't bring that information. It will be a study by itself. Okay, Sairam. Yes, Sister Ananthi, you have a question.
Sairam, in the previous slide, I learned something about Pura, that is the long ago. That's why we call all the ancient pranic stories or prana stories. So in that Purana, what is the na means? Pura, long ago.
Okay.
What's the na means in that one?
Okay, good question. See, Purana means, Pura stands for old, Na stands for Nava, means new. That which is old and that which is always new is called Purana. See, there is this concept, oh, Purana means that's old time stuff, it doesn't apply to today. What is told then, when it applies to today also, that is Purana. So many people say, oh, during the Purana times, they said this, but it is not applicable, it is not practical. This is what we say. No. The Puranas contain concepts and guidance which was applied long time ago. They ever new. Today also they are applicable. That all that which falls under that category are called Purana.
That's why we call, but we categorize Ramayana and Mahabharata. It's sometimes we also tell Puranic stories, but those are the ones we call Idikasa, and that's why now I understand Prana. I thought that whenever someone say Prana, I always think that's an old one, but there's a intertwined meaning also. Whatever the old ones, still applicable until today.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an excellent explanation. Thank you so much.
On this topic, and we are doing Prema Vahini and with another study circle. Swami says, Neti Vakulu, Nati Vakulu. That means in that one chapter he's saying, what was stated then is the thing which is stated now. And he's telling, Rama talked about Navavidha Bhakti, and Swami is saying, I am also telling the same thing today. In that context, he has said that. So all that is belongs to before. So all that is eternal is Puranava. That which is old and that which is new, both are. So that's why Swami says the word Manava. Manava means one who is not new. So all human beings are called Manavas. Swami says, you are not new. You were ancient also. You existed long time also. Don't think you were born only a few years ago, few decades ago. No, you have been there for thousands of years. This also can, so Manava means Puranava, means you were there then, you are new today, but you are the same. So all that is eternal can be considered Purana. Okay, so I hope that
it's an excellent explanation. It's a very new thing I learned today. Thank you so much.
okay. If everyone is okay, I will go to one more sloka. At least we can cover. It's 9:50.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, all the first 9 slides I have not covered, but I thought I felt like sharing this today, so that's why I went there. We'll take the next one. This is an important one. Words which all of us should know. So we will cover this. So this is from the 8th chapter, okay, of Bhagavad Gita. It's verse 13. Okay. I don't want it to turn out into a Bhagavad Gita class, so I just refer to the reference and then we'll go on and look at just the verse. Omit Yekaksharam. O mi itye ka uksharam. Om ityekaksharam. Brahma. Vyaharan mam anusmaran. Okay. Vya ha ra inma ma nu smaran. Vyaharan mam anusmaran. Yah prayati Tyajen deham. Tyaja indeham. Tyajen deham. Sa yati paramam gatim. Yah prayati tyajen deham sa yati paramam gatim. Om. We are discussing Om, so we'll just leave it the sound Om. The name of God, the way God is described. Iti, thus. Eka means one. Aksharam, letter, syllable. So let me stop here once. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry. So Aksharam. So Aksharam, generally we will say it's a letter is called Akshara. But Akshara means Akshara, Kshara. Kshara means that which is destroyed, that which can be destroyed. Akshara means that which cannot be described. Actually negates Ksharam here. So anything that cannot be destroyed is akshara. Okay, so you can see we have come to use the meaning letter, but you also can say that which cannot be that which does not get destroyed is akshara. So again, going back to what I was telling Sister Kalyani is, once we say something, that will never get destroyed. The example is, we all understand about radio, if somebody says something somewhere in other part of the world, we can tune in because the words have gone into waves. Because you can say, oh, because of some technical, no, what actually a radio station is doing is it is transmitting in a particular frequency. But whether you transmit it through some electronic gadget or not, as soon as we say that has entered in this world, it is creation itself. That sound and the wave you have produced will never be destroyed in this world. So that is why letters are called akshara. Whatever we pronounce will never be destroyed. So you can see the meaning. There are multiple levels of meaning for the word akshara. That's why God is also called akshara. Akshara Parabrahman is called. Okay. Yes, Auntie.
Akshata is different. Is that when you put this rice in blessing?
That is akshata.
Akshata.
That's akshata, akshaya.
Okay,
So
that's different.
they all come from the same meaning, because akshata means that is also, it will give you, that's why when you bless somebody, you put akshata, means
Eternal.
through that process you are saying that this will never be destroyed.
Yeah, eternal things. Yeah.
Yes, you make, so that is why you use akshata. Akshaya means the ksha. Yeah, there are different, kshata, kshara.
Yeah.
These are the three letters which are getting added. These are called
Patram.
that which never end, it cannot be emptied.
Depleted. Yeah, they cannot deplete. Yeah.
So kshaya means that which depletes, that reduces in quantity.
So put the I in front, it gives the
opposite, negates that.
negative meaning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So see, Sanskrit, that's why, you take a, ksha, ra, then you add, different words. The meaning changes slightly based on the last letter which gets added. So that is pratyayo, upasarga, there are various technical terms in Sanskrit. Okay, yeah, I hope. So yes, they are all related in meaning. So we'll go to the next one, Brahma. Brahman, we already discussed, that which continuously expands, that Parabrahman, supreme being, is Brahman. Vyaharan means again saying. Okay, let's put chanting, saying. Okay, or gripping. Okay, always and everywhere. Many ways you can meaning. I think I don't want to dwell too much. Uttering. Let's go to that. We say, Mam, me. Anusmaran. Smaran means to remember. Anusmaran, meditating, continuously doing it. One after the other. You are so continuously doing is anu. Okay. Anusmaran means repeatedly remembering. That's a continuously remembering, which is meditating. Yaha, whoever. Prayati, departs, leaves. Okay. Or journeys. Tyajan, leaving. Tyajan. Deha, body. See, even if you take the word deham, we have many words. Deham, shariram, like that for the body also. Tanu. So there are multiple names which are used for the body. But why are we using the word deham? Dahyati deham means that which gets burnt is deham. Okay, so each of them have a meaning. So deham can be for the body which gets burnt, but anything which gets burnt is deham. Okay, so but in this context, what we are saying, Tyajan Deha means we're leaving a body which is going to be burnt, which will be burnt. Deham is body. That's why I translate that which is burnable. Okay, that which gets burnt is Deham. Saha means he. Yati means reaches, attains. He goes and reaches. Okay. Paramam Gatim. Parama means supreme. Parama. Gatim, state or destination. So what Lord Krishna is telling us, anyone who leaves the body and starts their journey, saying the name, saying Om, uttering it, and also meditating on it, they will reach the supreme state. What the Lord is saying is, anyone who is meditating on this Om and saying Om and leaves, that means when you are dying, if you remember Om, if you meditated Om, you are saying Om and departing, you will reach the final state. This is what Krishna is saying to Arjuna in chapter 8. So what he is saying is, so at the end of your death, when you are dying, at the end of your life, if you can do this, you will reach me, you will reach the supreme state. That is the promise. That's a declaration of Lord Krishna. That is why in every activity, if we say Om, throughout the day, before we start anything auspicious, and we are contemplating on the meaning of this Om, reaching the Lord is guaranteed. Reaching our real goal is guaranteed. But to get to that state, so that we remember to chant and sing, that's only possible if we are practicing it always. And we have to practice it all the time, because any day, any time we can leave. So that is why every activity started with Om. Swami has made it compulsory that we chant 21 times Om in the morning, every day. Even though in many Indian traditions, there are gurus who say ladies should not chant Om, sannyasis only should chant Om, grihastha should not chant Om. All these rules people have come up with through not knowing what is Om, not knowing why we should say Om. These practices have crept in, and Swami is taking incarnation is to eradicate these wrong notions also and make it accessible to all of us. So the reality is we are all chanting Om, Suprabhadam, whenever there's a function we do 21 Oms, but we are all doing it without understanding. Just the way in Jaffna everyone says Om without knowing why they are saying Om. So I think it's always good to know and say, so that we fully benefit from doing that in our life, daily life. So I thought it's important that we get to know this. That's why we are spending a lot of time on Om. Maybe 1 or 2 more sessions I think I will cover with Om. I hope you all do not mind. But in this process, I thought I'm introducing other Sanskrit verses, sayings from scriptures, which Swami has actually quoted and spoken about. So that way, it will be learning Sanskrit, learning the meaning of Om, and making it worthwhile, so that we also hopefully attain that supreme state. That's the whole idea. I hope it's okay. It's useful. So I thought I will share this. It's 10:05. If there are questions, I will ask. Otherwise, I will continue with.
Sai Ram, this is
Sai Ram.
Akwati. I just want to convey my kind, heartfelt happiness that you have taken us to the Gurukula Bhasha and you have taught us. Everything is so blissful. May Baba bless you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram. It's my benefit also to read these, remember, contemplate. It's my fortune, I would say. You all gave me the excuse, that's all. If everyone is okay, maybe I will continue with some material. So then I think it's all okay. You can read, if there are questions, you come back later. Then I will go back to the third slide, okay, now.
Sairam, uncle, sorry. Can you just say that for anusmara, the anu means continuous or?
Yeah, so anu means that which follows. Okay, that which comes after. That comes, follows closely, you can say. Okay. For example, the word anuja. Anuja means a younger sibling. Anu means after, ja means born. So born after somebody is anuja. Okay, which comes after is anuja. So anusmarana means once you remember, there's another memory, then there's another memory. So for example, how our thoughts work is you have one thought, another thought follows closely, another thought follows closely, another thought follows closely. You string all these thoughts, that is anusmarana. That means you remember, repeat, recollect, recontemplate. All that is anusmarana.
Is anubandham the same like appendix is anubandham?
Anubandha means you have a bondage.
Bondage.
Like for example, marriage is anubandha. Rina anubandha. So what happened? Rina means a debt, a loan you have borrowed from someone. Because of that you are tied to that person. So once you borrow, you're caught. You can't break free from that relationship.
Anubandham.
So once you get tied up, whatever follows is anubandha.
Bandham, anubandham.
Okay, so you get into a transaction with somebody that creates a bond, and that bond, which as a result of that original transaction, is anubandha. So that which follows the bandham is anubandha.
Oh.
What comes after? Okay, so that's the anu. I am giving simplistic explanation, but we can go into Delhi, but that is the sense, is the spirit is that.
Sairam Arano.
Yes, Aunt.
This sloka starts with Omkaram or O-N. This here it says O-N-K-A-R-A-M.
Yeah, so I will talk about it, Auntie.
Okay.
And one more question, Uncle. When you say Om Tat Sat, like is it only like those three separate words, like Om Tat Sat, or can you take it like a sentence, like Om is Tat Sat?
Yeah, it means I think it's each person's contemplation. Like for example, there are three ways it has been described. Because that Brahman cannot be described. So people who have experienced have described it in three different ways. It's like same thing like Sat Chit Anandam. What is this Sat Anandam? Yes, it is. But different people's experience is different. You can also say it is like the 4-5 blind men who went and looked at the elephant. Each one experienced differently, but they all experience the same thing. So you can say different rishis experienced that Brahman and expressed what they experienced in those three words. Either as Om, or either as Tat, or either as Sat. And the ones who started with Sat, they said, oh, it's Sat Chit Anandam. So that is how the multiplication of descriptions of the Lord originated. But Krishna has singled out these three as the starting descriptions of the Brahman. Okay, so it's a different perception, experience of the same entity is my understanding.
Okay. And the second sentence, it had said the Brahmanas made the Vedas and Yajnas with that But I thought the Vedas and Yajnas were created by God.
Okay, good question. So the thing is, the Brahmanas who have come to know the Brahman expressed it in the Vedas through words. Okay, they became the instruments through which God expressed. Because once you become a Brahman, in the state of Brahma, once you become a Brahmana, whatever you say will be divine. Once a person, once something is made sweet, every drop of it is, for example, you take a cup, there's water, you take sugar, you stir it. Now every drop is sugar. Okay, sugar is Brahman. What the rishis did was they took the water and mixed it and made it a sweet syrup. So Vedas all derived from that experience. And they did not even take ownership of it because they became so hollow that any experience of which they perceived, it was expressed in those words or those sounds. Okay, so the thing is, that's why if you take the Vedic mantras, for every Vedic mantra, there will be a rishi whose name is mentioned as a drashta in many of them. In many cases, there are no mentions, but there are mentions of, for example, Gayatri. If you say, Gayatri is part of the Vedas, but we all say Vishwamitra discovered it. Okay, what he did was only discovery. So that is how the Gayatri, the Savita Gayatri came from Vishwamitra. So did he hear it? So did he physically hear it, or did he hear in his being? So that is why the rishis also had a role, but what they expressed was not their own. It was the experience of the divinity which manifested through them. That's the word which I used, the nirdesha. That means it was drawn out and expressed outwardly by the rishis. So you can say, were they part of the process or they created? The word used is vihita. Okay, that's why I didn't go into detail. I said were made, it's very difficult to translate. That means they became instruments through which what they experienced was expressed. So I use the word vihita. So that's the closest in English. They didn't do it. Karat, they didn't do. Okay. They are not karta. Okay. They're just vihita. So you can say they were like the flute through which the music flowed. Okay. So if you take air, which you blow at the top of the flute through one hole, and music comes out. So the Lord is only blowing the air. Through the flute, the music comes out. So did the flute produce the music, or the person who blew did the music? The combination. So it's like that. I hope. Did the flute create the music? No. The flute became an instrument through which the music was heard. It translated or transformed what it received into music. So that was the role of the Brahmanas. After all, when you are a Brahmana, you have become divine yourself. It's like, a metal piece, there's a magnet. You take a metal and attach it to that magnet. The magnetic waves will flow through this metal piece, and that metal also can become magnet after a while. So then that is also magnet. So that is the process which many rishis did. So that's my understanding. So once they become Brahman themselves, by knowing the Brahman, they are also Brahman. Just like the metal part which became magnet by association with the original magnet. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. That's really clarifies it. And just one small question on the next slide. So is it saying that so the speakers on Brahman, they are always uttering Om while doing these activities as stated. Okay.
Whatever they say is Brahman.
Okay.
Every word, because once they are in that consciousness, once they are in that, once they identify with Brahman, whatever they say, that such people are Brahmavadina. They become Brahman, and then they speak.
Okay.
And whatever they speak is what comes from Brahman, because they have become Brahman themselves. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati is a statement which Swami also repeats again and again. Brahmavid means those who know Brahman have become Brahman. If you understand, if you know Brahman, you are Brahman. Which is what Swami is saying. If you know divinity, you become divine. What is knowing divinity? Not saying, oh, I know Sai Baba, so I have to be divine. No. He says you imbibe the qualities of the divine. That is the real knowing of the Brahman. Because we need to know the Brahman in our being. That is the real knowledge. Not looking, not hearing, not reading. That knowledge means you have come to be that. That is the ultimate understanding of Brahman. Then you are Brahman. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. It's a statement. So Swami says, continuously strive to cultivate divine qualities in you, godlike qualities, you become God. That's what he says. You don't know, I know. That means you have not realized in yourself all the good qualities which are inherent in you. Work on it. And this is the instruction from Swami. So once you do that, you will also become that Brahma. I hope that's also okay.
Yes, thank you so much.
Brahmavadina. Yes, Brother Tasan.
Oh, Sairam, brother, based on your thing, brother, the Vedas, those days, we had rishis. They listen to the sound. We are thinking about that 5 elements. That is beyond that, the 5 elements. They can transmit the sound. The last time I asked the questions, you explained very well. Is the Vedas all destroyed? No, still there. But we don't have the people. We don't have the people that listen to the sound. We are always thinking about the 5 elements. That is beyond the universe. Even some people are here now. I have seen a lot of people. They can hear the sound, but other people cannot hear. The molecules or waves are not involved in that one. How they are getting the messages when they are awake, not in the sleep. So the Vedas, some rishis, they listen to that sound and they wrote it down. Even they cannot describe, Vedas cannot describe fully about the creator. So this is my understanding, brother, based on your thing. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Some of it we will discuss when the 4 stages of sound itself, Parapashyanti. We will discuss that. That will be maybe not the next session, the session after. We will cover, because I have already some material which I didn't cover today. It's about 10:19. Maybe I will start the next sloka if there are no questions, and then we will close for the day. So this is a shloka which every Balavika's child is taught. So I thought we will cover that. O-ing-karam. Omkaram. Okay. This is ing and ka ram. Okay. I think the question auntie asked, Manori asked was, isn't it Om? Why is ing? Was the question. The is the anuswara in the Om. When it is followed by word the kara, because of sandhi, that anuswara becomes ing. So if you take the ka varga, ka kha, ga gha, and nga, which is the 5th nasal sound, it's called anunasika. It's anunasika, okay? It's not, nasal is a very rough English translation, but the real word is, nasika is nasal, but it's anunasika. So anunasika, there's mouth and nose involved. Nga. So as you can see, it's not only nasal, the sound is coming through the mouth also. So it's a resonance between using the mouth and the nose is anunasika. So that actually it is completely nasika. That's called also anuswara. That which is not completely nasal becomes anunasika nga because of sandhi. That is why it becomes omkaram. Okay, I just put it there because that's the way it is actually in Sanskrit. It's written, so you'll understand what the sandhi implications are. So om is the sound, kara is that sound of om. So omkaram is the word by itself, which has the sandhi of om and kara. So that is how it's omkara. Okay, omkaram is om. Omkaram is om. So omkaram, you can say, is a description of om itself. Okay, I hope that answers that question.
Yes.
Bindu samyuktam. Okay, there are people who will pronounce this because it's following here as sai. Okay, that is also available, but especially in the Vedic tradition, it's much more stringently followed. So you can say bindu sanyuktam. That is pronounced as in. Okay, there's a different way to write it also in the Vedic tradition, but I am not going into that because we are reading classical Sanskrit and the way it is generally written and read. So you can say it is samyuktam. Okay, bindu samyuktam nityam dhyayanti yoginah kamadam mokshadam chaiva omkaraya namo namah. Omkaram bindu samyuktam nityam dhyayanti yoginah kamadam mokshadam chaiva omkaraya namo namah. I will just go through very quickly. Maybe I will not discuss too much. We'll continue next week. We'll start with this and go on. Omkaram is omkar. Om. Bindu means drop or point. Just simply put, okay, we will come back to Bindu a little later. I don't want to open up another discussion on that. Maybe I will reserve it for next weekend. Samyuktam means to join. Yukta means to join itself. Samyukta means very well joined, divinely joined, you can say. Okay, that's it. Even that connection is something auspicious, some divinity associated with it. So that is Samyuktam. Or wholeness, you can say. Okay, Nityam, always. You know, Nityam, Satyam, all of them have Tya, but the first prefix, so you know, that changes slightly. So Nityam, always. Dhyayanti, you know, this is the fourth letter, fourth dha, so it's aspirated with Mahaprana. Dhyayanti yoginah. Dhyayanti means to meditate. It's a plural. Okay, many people meditate. Yoginah means plural also. Yoginah dhyayanti means yogi dhyayati. One yogi means it's dhyayati. Yoginah dhyayanti. Okay, just for Sanskrit. So this verb itself is a plural verb. Okay, yoginah yogis, many yogis. Kama dam. Kama means desire. Dam means to giver. So it gives that which gives all the wishes. Moksha dam. Moksha means liberation. Dam means to give, giver of liberation. Moksha dam. Chaiva is again sandhi. Cha eva. Okay, chaiva it becomes. A and A becomes I. So that's a chaiva. Cha means and. Eva means verily, definitely, certainly. Alone, also you can say. Omkaraya. To that Omkaram. Namaha, Namaha. This Namaha, Namaha is, this is also Sandhi. When you say to Namaha, Namaha, it becomes Namo Namaha. I don't know whether, in Tamil, we don't even know. We'll say Arohara. Actually, Arohara is Haraha, Haraha becomes Harohara. We are actually saying Hara twice. That is how the word Harohara comes. But we don't know in Arohara, we take in Tamil. But it's Haraha, Haraha becomes Harohara. Okay. But again, we have made it in Tamil, so we say Hara. Okay. Harohara is the Sanskrit. So it is like Namo Namaha. Namaha Namaha, Haraha Haraha. So I'll just leave it at that. It's 10:27. I'll just go to quickly one meaning and then we will continue. We'll start off with this at the next session if it's okay with you all. So we bow down to that Omkara, which gives all our wishes, which grants us even liberation. You can see how when it grants liberation, we read just now in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says if you meditate and chant, you reach the final state. That means you are completely liberated. But even in the worldly sense, it is useful because whatever you want can happen. So you can use this Om for worldly success as well as your spiritual success, if you want to separate them. Both it's possible. That is the only thing which can grant. And that Omkaram is meditated upon by the yogis always. Anyone who meditates on that Om is a yogi. Because the statement says yogis always meditate on it. Always, Nityam. Okay, it has to be continuous in meditation of Om. And we should understand how to meditate. That's what we are going to discuss in the next couple of sessions. What is this meditation? What should we contemplate? What should our mind be engrossed in? Is it just repeating Om, Om or Om? Things like that we can look at. What is this Omkaram? It is Bindu Samyuktam. Okay, Bindu Samyuktam. Bind, as we said, is a point or drop. Swami is giving the meaning, so I put it down because there are all sorts of meanings about Bindu, but I am just giving you what Swami has said. Bindu is Buddhi, which is firmly present in body, prana, and mind. What Swami says is, when the Bindu is firmly present, means it connects all of it into one point. That is your body, your mind, and your prana. All of them are connected to one point, then that becomes Bindu. In our body, this part is actually called Bindu. The Ajna Chakra is Bindu. That is why when you meditate, they say you should look at the point. Okay, at that point and meditate. Because through that point, your attention, physical attention, body, your prana which passes through that, and your attention, mind, all of them are connected. That is why it's called Bindu. So this point is actually Bindu. That's why we also say Bindi. The ladies wear kumkum in that spot, and that's called Bindi. Okay, so that is a very powerful point physically also. That is the point where everything gets connected. the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna get connected. There are many yogic theories. We'll look at them. I will just briefly touch upon them. So all there is Bindu Samyuktam. That is why Omkaram Bindu Samyuktam. So when you say Om, all your body, mind, and prana should all be pointed and connected and should be joined together. And that is Omkara. So when we say Om, all our body, everything should be connected to one spot. That is the meaning. So it's 10:31. If you don't mind, I will close today quickly with prayers and we'll continue from next week. If you have questions, please reserve it for next week. I will answer them. We'll start off with question and answers if it's okay. We'll close with Samastaloka. Okay, Sai Ram. Oh, Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother.
Thank you,
Sai
Sai
Ram.
Ram.
Thank you.
Sai Ram, Sai.